Welcome to Psychologist Talks. On today's short, I'm talking about this increasing rub it feels like, and I don't know how to define it besides think of it kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Not fully, because I'm going to simplify it. There's two camps, two general camps. On the one camp is like safety and security. Safety and security can be all sorts of things, but these days it's usually things that are secured with money, or some sort of securing of material goods, food, whatever it might be, right? Like basic fundamental safety and security on the one side. And on the other side is relational and emotional health. Again, massive oversimplification, but these two kind of really foundational needs. Now, going with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is not absolutely accurate, but the general idea is like if the basic safety and security is not there, it will take a priority. And if you disagree with me, au contraire, go talk to any, immigrant family, people fleeing violence, war-torn countries. It's not that the relational emotional health is not important. It is just it has to compete with basic safety and security. It has to. And so often with greater safety and security comes greater access to the relational and emotional well-being, which is hugely important to us. I mean, it's the stuff that probably matters for most people the most on their deathbed. And our relationships and how we feel about ourselves and the world are paramount as we get to our end of life. And in an ideal world, we are always balancing both. But you'll notice by me kind of talking about a little bit of a hierarchy here, is the balance is not perfectly 50-50 pretty much ever. And as increasing comfort, a society gains comfort, what typically happens is the safety and security requires a little bit less of our energy and thereby opens up greater potential for relational and emotional health in a way that just, again, cannot be fully accessed when basic safety and security are constantly being threatened. Again, we do the best we can to balance both when that's happening. There's never an excuse to absolutely neglect relational emotional health. You cannot neglect that fully. But again, the ratio or the percentage is going to change a little bit depending on how dire the straits are. So, as you might guess, as we've gotten more into the present day with greater, creature comforts here, and leisure, and access, there is far more latitude for the relational emotional. But I think we've got this kind of like misunderstanding that somehow really deprioritizes basic safety and security. I don't believe that to be true. And so I get a little frustrated when I think younger generation, this typically happens between generations, that the younger generation points to the old and says like, how dare you, you barely tended to my relational emotional health because you were always working or you cared more about money or whatever it is. Now, I want to be crystal clear. There are absolutely generational issues around that. And this is particularly true with masculinity in men. This sort of not being sufficiently taught or being scared of the relational emotional health. And so just defaulting to the safety and security and jobs and money and all that sort of stuff. And then using that as a scapegoat and a reason of why they didn't. They truly neglected relational emotional health. Like that's a thing. I know that's a thing. It's a legitimate critique. However, I think we're getting a little too cavalier to dismiss the ongoing importance of fundamental safety and security, that wedding ourselves and committing ourselves to our work and creating a financial situation that's conducive not just for basic survival, but for potential acquisition. This is broadly using the term, but acquisition of wealth and passing down and, eating well and having these frail things, that is not inconsequential. That actually takes a good amount of work. As I often say to folks, there's only so much psychic energy we have. And if we just magically believe that application to things that maintain safety and security require no psychic energy, you're going to exhaust yourself. Sorry, the adult world does not work that way. Our work, if anything, especially under capitalism, exhausts the living hell out of us. And it compromises, naturally, how much energy we can invest in our relational and emotional worlds. And so there's a big ask of adults to carry both. And very naturally in partnerships, it's not a perfect even Steven. I mean, some relationships will find people that equally wield both just as well. Both are seeking safety and security. both are tending to relational emotional health, but more often than not, there's a slight skew. And it's always sad to me when the person who's a little bit more on the safety and security side, because of the comforts and the privileges of the world at large, they get a kind of a raw deal of like, well, you weren't there as much for me emotionally, so you're less important to me. Again, that has some merit if they truly were neglecting the relational emotional. They weren't trying to grow, they weren't trying to lean into it as much as possible. I can appreciate that. But I think it's getting a little too cool to just dismiss that and say, like, because the majority of what you were doing was that, you neglected me somehow. It's like, oh, we need to be careful. We need to be careful. And I would hate for us to learn this lesson the hard way, but it is very possible if we continue down a not so productive path where our ability to access things in an affordable manner continue to go down. We will find ourselves in this situation yet again where we will appreciate and understand like the importance and how much energy it takes to secure safety and security. There is a cost that we have to invest parts of ourselves, significant parts of ourselves, to do that. And it can periodically come at the cost of our relational and emotional well-being and health, and how much we can tend to that with other people. We are not superheroes. We only have so much energy. We have only so much energy. And if this country continues to slip, more and more of us will be reminded of this thing that I think a lot of folks with lower socioeconomic statuses and stuff know natively, that you have to do both. You have to do both. So I don't know if that's really helpful. I don't know how necessary the point is. It's just something that kind of has come up recently and just felt important to talk about. Is like, I mean, my profession is all about relational emotional health. It's everything that I do. That does not mean, though, I would not even be so audacious to say that the fundamentals around safety and security and the work that people do to secure that is unimportant. It is absolutely important. It is foundational. And we need to respect those that spend a lot of their time and energy and their own emotional and relational health to secure those things for us. So, for whatever that's worth, thank you for listening and watching. And as always, stay curious.